Hey everybody, I was just sitting here enjoying my 125 gallon tank, so I thought I would just shoot a little bit of video so you can share it with me if you want. Nothing in particular on my mind. Like I said, I just really enjoy looking at this tank. I really love my Synodontis catfish here. I know he's not coming out very well in the dimly lit tank, and that is mainly because I really need to give this tank a haircut. You can look in there and you can see almost from one end to the other is this massive water sprite plant, and this is a 6 foot long tank, and you can see it goes almost from end to end, so it's really thick and blocks a lot of the light in there, and that's going to be getting trimmed out pretty soon. I really need to get in there and do some work on that. So next water change I will get in there and do that. But in the meantime, it makes anything down in the lower portions of this tank much more dimly lit. I like it to a certain extent. I think it's nice looking having the sort of shady, dimly lit tank. It looks a little more natural, but it definitely makes it difficult to video, and it makes it difficult to really appreciate the fish that are in the tank. This is my Ctenopoma Acutirostre. They're typically sold as African spotted leaf fish. I've seen them called leopard gouramis, leopard bushfish, climbing perch. They have lots of names. They are actually not gouramis, but they're related to gouramis. They are anabantoids. In other words, they're labyrinth fish. They have a labyrinth organ that allows them to absorb oxygen from atmospheric air. It's a series of channels or canals through an organ, and I guess what the equivalent of what you would think of as their sinuses, I guess they would be, in relation to us. But it does allow them to gulp air from the surface, so they can live in completely anaerobic water, provided they can get to the surface and gulp air. And my catfish usually gets in the current once he gets underneath the power head over there, and he zooms down with the current and then makes a really sharp turn underneath the rock. That's why I moved the camera down there. I was expecting him to come out, but he didn't. Let's see if he does it this time. Yeah, he usually does that and sort of surfs the current and then hangs a turn and cuts right through there. It's fun to watch. He does that a lot, and I was expecting him to do that before, but he didn't. For some reason, he just sat underneath the power head for a few minutes there. So that is a Hikari algae wafer he's working on at the bottom. That's kind of why I've been sitting here watching the tank. I just threw some algae wafers in there, and he really enjoys them. Whenever I throw them in there, he goes crazy for them. The loaches do as well. If you hear any clicking and clacking noises, that's because there's more than one algae wafer in there, and the loaches have the other one somewhere else in the tank. These other brightly colored fish that are darting and dashing around are my Congo Tetras. I have 11 of them, 7 males and 5 females. They make a fantastic display fish in your tank if you've got a slightly larger tank and can accommodate a bigger fish that needs a little bit of swimming room. The males can get up to 5 inches. They usually top around 4, 4.5, but they can get as big as 5 inches. So you do need a bigger tank to keep the Congo Tetras. And my Synodontis sure makes use of the space of this tank. He really is active and swims around it quite a bit. Definitely not one of my more reclusive catfish. I do have some of those that we barely ever see, but the Synodontis is not one of them. He moves around quite a bit and is out in the open quite a lot. So my Ctenopoma here is another fish that's just fantastic. I really love this one. Again, you need a bigger tank for it. They do get pretty beefy, but absolutely fantastic fish. Not a flashy, colorful fish, but great personality, really cool looking, interesting behavior, and it's a very intelligent fish too. Always fun to watch. Always enjoy looking at my Ctenopoma. And usually my Ctenopoma and my Synodontis are palling around together, or quite frequently they do. I actually refer to them as my odd couple. They're always in there sort of hanging out together, doing their thing. So that's about all I wanted to do, was just give you a little bit of a look at the tank. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up. I didn't mention my Snakeskin Gourami down there at the far end of the tank. He's in all the sort of glare, and he's just kind of hanging out doing his thing. They can get up to 10 inches. He's probably about 8 at this point. He's a pretty big fish, and that is a male. I did have a female in my gourami tank, but she died 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. I think she darted and dashed and actually hit her head on something. I'm not entirely sure what happened to her. It might have been swim bladder infection or something. I'm not sure. But I lost her. I still do have him, and he is also a really, really cool fish. I really enjoy him as well. Again, not flashy, not real colorful, but a really interesting fish. Can't say the gouramis are particularly smart, but they are interesting. They don't, they don't seem curious the same way my Ctenopoma does. They seem more skittish and, prone to darting and dashing away if you move around rather than stopping and being curious as to what you're doing. But all in all, gouramis are just great fish. I really enjoy my gouramis. I have a whole tank full of them, or I used to anyway. It's getting less and less gouramis in there as time moves on. Anyway, thanks again for watching this one. Please subscribe if you're not already. You never really know what you're going to get with me. Could be just about anything, so if you're subscribed, you won't miss whatever it is. So thanks again for watching this one. I'll see you real soon on the next one.